Everyone, happy Tuesday. Hope you all are having a wonderful Tuesday afternoon. We are going to get started here. I apologize, we're a minute or so late. My name is Melissa Matthews, and I work for the Department of Educational Technology, and I'm here with
Gail Sigalakis. Good afternoon.
And we are going to learn all about grading and assessment tools today. Hopefully, all of this will be new to you, but if it's familiar, that's cool as well. And actually, Gail's going to train, so I'm going to pass it on over to her and move out of the way.
My goal is always at least to walk away with one new thing. So
yes.
If there's one new thing,
exactly,
then that makes your day.
It's a good webinar.
Yeah. Okay, so like Melissa said, we're going to talk about grading. We're going to go into Google Classroom and dive into some tools you can use there. And then we're also going to go into Goformative, which is an extra bonus if you've never used that before. So the question is, what are some of the tools you're using now in your classroom or practices when you grade and give feedback digitally? That's the key here. So when you're grading online, what does that look like, or what do you use? I'm just going to jump. I'm going to say.
You know what? We didn't share about how to see the chat window or
yes,
how.
That's what I was just going to say.
We skipped that piece.
So I'm looking in the messaging side here, and just remember at the top of the messaging to.
Wait, I don't know how to get to the messaging.
Go here.
Start at weekly webinars form.
Did I just move the wrong thing over? I did.
That's okay.
Sorry. You have that window open?
I have. You can
weekly
open
webinars.
Another chat and click the. Wait, hold on. Oh, you could do that too. I have a little link there. So if you guys are at weeklywebinars.palmbeachschools.org, you can definitely watch here, but you can't participate in the chat. So if you click that YouTube link here, that will take you to the YouTube site. And on the right-hand side panel, you're going to be able to join the chat. Now, Google has changed it so there's a top chat and a live chat. If you keep it on live chat, you will be able to see all of the comments, which is very helpful. In addition to that, in the bottom right corner of the Google, there's a little settings cog gear. If you click on that, adjust the quality to 720p, and you will be able to see crystal clear what Gail is going to teach you. And with that, let's go back.
That was in a nutshell, real quick. Okay, so if you just want to go ahead and shout out in the chat bar some tools you might use or practices you use when you grade digitally, you can go ahead and shout that out here. Otherwise, we're going to go into Google Classroom in just a minute and talk about how you can use the private comments, the grading tools, canned comments, which are similar to what you have in Mail, and then we'll talk briefly about the app. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go into Google Classroom right now. Live. All right. So I went ahead and just created a fake classroom for us to play around with today. You guys will see you have one quick comment too. If you are still living in old classroom, which means you don't have this classwork tab here and you just have stream and people, there's a real quick fix to that where you won't lose any of your assignments or students and they won't have to log back in. If you go down to the question mark in the bottom left corner and you click on that, you'll see remove classwork page. So what that does, I already have updated my Google Classroom, so my option is to remove, but if you're still living in old classroom and you don't have the classwork page, then you can add that right down there at the bottom and it won't mess up any of your classes. It'll be a quick, easy transition. As a matter of fact, it'll make organizing your classroom much easier. Okay, so we're gonna go into the assignment that's posted and you can see, you recognize some students here, Tasha and Melissa, and my daughter turned into a adult today because I'm putting her in here. But
you grew up quick.
Yes. So you'll see this is what you would see if students submitted work or did not submit work. You can see turned in, how many have been assigned, and then how many have been graded. That just keeps you on track with knowing if you have to continue to grade similar. And then you'll see your list of students on the side here. So we're going to go into a student's work. We'll go into Daphne's. And her job was to write an essay. So we're going to go over some tools you can use to grade in this new classwork, class grading feature. So first thing at the top, it used to be really time consuming to go through each student in Google Classroom and grade. Now you can easily click through your students at the top here through the arrows, lets you know if they've turned it in or if it's missing or if you need to grade it. So I'm going to Daphne because she has an essay here that we have to work on a little bit. You have some options here as far as how you want to edit or give them suggestions. So you can suggest, which means that if I'm in the green suggesting mode, when I go over text, let's say I don't like the way this is worded and I want to say most of all, what that's going to do is cross off their words and put in your suggestions, and students can either go in and say, yes, I want to do that change, or they can say, nope, I don't like it, and get rid of it. So if you're in suggesting mode, that's one of the things you'll be able to do is give them suggestions. Okay, another tool you'll want to use is the comments on the side. So if you use Google Docs a lot, then you already are familiar with the comment feature, except here it's just in the grading tool. So you don't have to go anywhere else or outside to do that. One of the things I like about this is when you assign something to students, make a copy for all, they have this here and their progress lifetime is going on. So even though maybe I didn't say turn in your essay yet, their progress is here and I can see where they are if they're halfway through their essay. So you can see I went into this paper and left some comments to Daphne while she's working in it. So that's just a good feedback practice, is to give them feedback along the way of an assignment instead of, slamming them with all the things they have to go back and correct at the end. So if you want to give them a comment, you're going to highlight a section here. Maybe I want to say to Daphne, don't forget to add a citation. And then just give her a little comment. So while she's writing, so she'll be writing her essay, she can see my comments pop up along the side. And that's really easy for them to go back and make corrections as they go. So this morning session, I forgot this fun little feature. So I wanted to make it a point that I didn't forget it. So I'm going to add it now. We all love emojis, right? Yes, Kids love emojis. We love emojis. Whether you think it's appropriate or not in your feedback to kids is, up to you. But I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to sometimes connect to them a little more. Give them a thumbs up along the way, right? So it would involve putting an extension on. I'm in incognito, so you don't see my extensions right now, but it's called Emoji1. And actually, I guess I could probably pull it up here, right? Chrome Store. I'll just show you the name of the app, and if you are interested, you can go ahead and Emoji1. So if you put this extension on, it will let you be able to insert emojis into your Google Classroom, into the assignments, into your topics, into things you title in there, just to make it a little bit more fun. So it's called Emoji1.
I have it.
Yeah. And I'm going to show you how it looks in student feedback. So let's go back to Daphne's essay.
Where is it?
I go here. I'm going to go, oh, no. Where is it? I'm being incognito, so it's not showing up.
I'm going to find it.
All right. Oh, that's okay.
I have the emoji keyboard by Emoji1. That's the little unicorn up at the top.
Yep, it's the unicorn. One? Yeah.
Okay, so it's there.
Yeah, it's there. If you put that in as your extensions, it'll let you copy emojis and you can paste them right into the student feedback. So like you can put a thumbs up if you wanted to. Instead of just saying great job, give them a little picture, smiley face. They love that little feature in their feedback. So you can add emojis into the feedback. Okay, let's move on down. So another thing I wanted to talk about grading in Google Classroom is that you can insert specific templates, rubrics, grading tools into their actual assignment. So that was my favorite feature. If I switch over to edit mode, so I'm leaving suggesting and I'm going into edit mode, I created a template, I copied it, and I just pasted it into the bottom of the student's essay. So now I can give a little table of their score breakdown. So if you're familiar, if you're a writing teacher, then you know that PFO is purpose, focus, and organization, EE is evidence and elaboration, and C is conventions. And it's broken down into different point values. So it's a quick, easy way to score the paper and give them feedback again. inserting in a template or a rubric. I like to do the rubrics where you have like a description for each level, and then I just highlight the particular category yellow, and then they know what their score is. So editing and inserting rubrics or using the comment tools in the essay. Now, if you look over here to the right, you're going to see some additional grading tools. One thing that we can do is create a comment bank. So when we went over mail last week or week before, everyone loves the canned responses because you don't have to write the same email over and over again. This is similar to that. So if you look at your comment bank, I just went ahead and created a few just as examples. But I won't have to type this out every time. If I create some common responses, I can just go ahead and copy it. And then I would go back into the private comments and paste it. And then I could post that to Daphne's paper. And you can keep adding comments as they go if you wanted to provide feedback while they're working. Or go back and at the end while you're grading the end result and add a comment. You can also put those emojis in here. And then you have your final grade, which is your total. If you do make a mistake, and let's say you're grading and you realize, oh, geez, this shouldn't have been at a 20. Maybe I need to go a little heavier, make it at a 30. You can always go change your point totals, and that would change it right in there. And then I already returned Daphne's, but I can return other people's. I can return everybody's at one time if I wanted to, or I can return just one submission if I like grading one at a time and submitting and returning. Okay, one more feature in Docs and Classrooms. Again, if you're familiar with Docs, then you know about this really cool plus feature. So if we're working with like a group, let's say a group of students are working on a group project, and we know that John's slide is number 3, then you would go in and highlight what you want John to go in and edit. And instead of just typing edit this, we're going to do a plus sign. And let's send Melissa another message today, another assignment.
Send as many as you'd like.
Tasha, it's not pulling it up. Plus. What do you think that is? Oh, we'll go into this one and we'll edit it.
It should come up with names.
I know, it's not coming up. Let's try again. Plus. Look, it's not coming up.
It's because you're presenting to hundreds of people and it just wants to catch you off guard.
It doesn't want to work today at the end of the day.
Maybe because it's already assigned to me. Do you see?
I tried to do a new one. Do another one. Where are you plus today? Let's do. I did Tasha. Typically, your names would pop up underneath. Like I would read Tasha, put up Tasha, and then I would be able to assign it to her.
Now, it may be because we're on an incognito window because I'm logged in order to do the Google Hangouts live on air. And
it worked this morning then.
It did work this morning. I'm just coming up with
good excuses, though.
Good excuses. Oh, well. So typically all the names will appear.
Just like this looks, it would say assign to. Melissa's who I used this morning, and then it turns into an actual assignment and emails them that they need to go and do something in a doc.
And it pulls from Active Directory, so it should preload. I'm not sure why it's not. It's a non-example.
Oh, I have a thought why.
Ooh.
But I don't want to waste time.
Okay.
But I have a theory. I have a theory because I already returned the paper. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I bet you it's because I already returned her paper. And since I don't have another paper, we'll just go with that.
Go to my paper.
You didn't submit one.
I did.
You did not. You did not actually attach a document to it.
What?
That's okay. That's okay. All right, I'm going to move on.
Okay.
Because I wanted to show you guys this other gem today that a lot of people don't know about. But it's a really cool assessment tool called Goformative. You can get there. Goformative.com is the name of the website. So I'm going to go through some of the basic features and show you some of the neat things it can do. So when you go into Goformative, it's basically a place where you would create a test. Your kids join your class through Google, and then you assign the test to them. and it makes grading and analyzing the data from each assessment really easy. So if I were to just come in here and create a new formative assessment, this is going to let me start putting the test together. I wish I could say it was easy that you could just upload a test you already made, but you can copy and paste. And that's kind of how I've used Goformative. When you click plus to add a question, you'll notice some of these are grayed out because I'm showing you the free version because we all like it free. Yes. So it is a very useful tool in free mode. You don't need to go pay anything. But you can see you can do short response answers. You can do show your work, which I'll show you in a minute. You can do multi-select, which we all love because that matches FSA, multiple choice or essay. So when I click on a question, it now lets me type in, oh, let's go. What's the best pet? Ferret.
For those of you missing our joke, for Christmas, the crazy Gail teaching your class decided to buy one of her daughters a bearded dragon and another daughter a ferret. And so we had this whole big question about what's the best pet, and we made fun of her because we thought it's not a dog or a cat, it's an off the wall animal, even though they're both very cute.
Yes. Okay, so I'll just show you real quickly 2 different types of questions. I did a multiple choice, I did a short response. And yes, this is very similar. You might be going, well, this is just like Google Forms. And it does do similar things, but this provides you a lot more data in the end. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So you have your question types. I'm going to go into an old assessment that I already made and used with students so you can see what the end result looks like. I recently used this too. If you sometimes you get your hands on a paper copy of something and it's not easy to turn it digital. So I just buddied up with a friend. We took turns. We just split it up and then typed the test into Goformative. Now I have it digitally ready to go. And
sharing is caring.
Yeah, sharing is caring. So you can see this one I did on a particular language arts standard. You can see I have multiple choice questions. This is the show your work, which I love because on our FSA tests, we know we have to highlight sentences within a text that support an answer. And so that's kind of what this lets kids do is underline sentences in a text using a line or highlighting. So that's show your work. Multi-select, you can see here, short response. So now the fun part is what that looks like after students take it. So you'll make your test, you'll finish it, edit it, and then assign. Because this is pulling in, the thing I love about this is it pulls in Google Classroom rosters.
Nice.
So when you link it to a classroom, it automatically pulls that class roster in from Google Classroom. So that's helpful. So you can see it also, these are my Google Classroom names that it pulls from. And then I just click a class and I can assign it and to return scores or not, hide scores. It's up to you. Those are some features you have to decide. And then once the students have taken the test, you get a chance to review that data. So I like that it shows you, you can either look at each question individually. So you can see I'm moving across the questions. And that also helps you know if like this question here, there's a lot of red, which tells me that either maybe I put the wrong answer in or it was a problem area for kids and I need to reteach it. Or maybe I still need to go back and grade some of it. So there's some options there. So I can click across the questions, or I can look at it as a whole and see the totals. I'm going to drop down a class. If you didn't catch what I just did, I hid the students' names real quick. So if you like to grade with your kids' names there on the side and you know who they are, that's great. If you don't, you can always hide your names and then just grade across. So the good thing is this will grade for you the multiple choice or multi-select because you chose the answers that are right. So it just grades them for you. Green would be correct answers. Red would be incorrect answers. However, if it's a short response or a show your work, then you need to actually go physically grade it. But the thing I love about Goformative is it makes grading super simple. So I'll show you what that looks like. I think there's some I missed grading on this one. So let's say I need to go grade question 3. I can flip through the kids' answers and just do a quick grade right here. So you can see, this was the show your work where the kids had to underline a sentence in the text. So it will show me that picture, show me what they underlined, and I can either go, yep, they get 1 point, or the student got it wrong, so nope, I'm going to give them 0 points. You can also give half points, which are always nice, because let's say they had to underline 2 sentences in the text and they only underlined 1. You want to give them some credit, so you can do the half points. If you have 3 points, it'll do 1, 2, 3, and break them into halves. And it lets you just kind of quickly skip through answers and give grades. I also like that you can give specific feedback to kids here. So at the bottom, let's say I'm looking at this person's questions, and it says, what does Laurel's dialogue and actions reveal about her? I might say, make sure to elaborate on your answers. And I send that. So when the students go in to look at their scores, they get little notifications that they have some feedback messages to read. So that's really helpful too, specific help for kids when they need it. Let's see, some other cool features. So the other thing I think I said was you can look at your classes and see, this is another quick comparison, how the individual classes did. So it's not just about each student. You can look at classes and differentiate for each class period, right? Let's see, anything else? I think you can export too into files. Melissa was talking about that this morning too, about exporting in Google Classroom. Should I jump into that?
Sure. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So we were
that's super confusing.
Everyone asks the question. Yes, you have your grades in Google Classroom, and it's going to be here, right? Or you could look at it across the grade. The gradebook features are not yet, but the grades are there.
So just, can you show them the gradebook feature for just a second?
Yep.
So I'm making her go back and forth.
We're in beta, so we have this.
And this is all coming to you guys soon. Beta for Google typically only lasts a couple months at the most. So, and it's been out probably a month already, so it should come to you soon. So this is going to look like your typical gradebook, where
has all your assignments.
Is going to be a different assignment. However, if you look, that cog won't let you download your grades. There's no export feature. There's no nothing. So you know, a few of us up here at the district office were trying to figure out, well, how do we allow you all to download your grades and put them into SIS? So the way to do that is to go to the actual assignment and then go to that cog and then download all grades as CSV, or you could do one at a time. So you could download these grades, which is that bottom feature, as a CSV and import one assignment as a time, or all. Remember, if you download all of them and you continuously do that, you're going to have, it's a repeat of all the grades over and over again. So it depends upon your workflow, how you want to do that.
Right. Or like for me, it was pretty easy to open up your gradebook, your in the focus gradebook, and have your gradebook from Classroom and just quickly copy them in. So some people like doing the downloading the file. Some people like doing it just copying it in. So again, it just depends on, you know, what works for you, right? I'm just hopping back to one last comment about Goformative. This morning after our session, the math teacher reached out about how to use it for math. And I know my daughter's teacher, she'll do little, we'll go back into making an assignment. She'll post a question and she'll do the show your work. Oops, change type, that's fine. And what that does is, we'll say, you know, what is 4 plus 2? Plus 2. And then what the kids would do, it gives them this white background, and then they would show their work. Or let's say, that's a very simple problem, but let's say you asked, you know, your first graders to model what 4 plus 2 looks like with counters or circles or stars. Then what they would do is go into that white background, and they could use, if you're using our new Chromebooks and they have the touch feature and they can actually draw it with their finger, or they can use their trackpad to sketch out what that looks like. They can even insert shapes into it to represent the counting points for the math problem. So you would probably focus more on show your work if you're a math teacher than some of the multiple choice questions, or do a little bit of both, show your work and also test their math vocabulary. So that is how you would use Goformative and Google Classroom for grading. So let's go back and make sure we didn't miss anything. We didn't show you, but if you were to download on your phone or whatever, what is it, an Android or whatever device you use, the Google Classroom feature, it does allow you some additional tools that you don't have on the computer, like drawing to annotate. So let's say you were to pull it up on your phone, you can actually draw or write onto the student's work, underline, highlight, circle,
which is so very
directly
easy
on there,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
So you can use that in the app for Google Classroom. Okay, so we were talking about homework for this session. If you could use, if you already use Google Classroom, that's great. Then you could use some of the commenting tools or grading tools that we talked about. Take a screenshot of what one of the assignments looks like and some feedback you left a student. Or you could do, maybe you want to try Goformative, jump out of comfort zone and try it out. And you can shoot us a screenshot of what that Goformative assessment looks like, or student data from that Goformative assessment. And then we were also talking about the timeline of the classes.
Yes. So all classes from January 1st till now are due March 12th. Next week's class will begin the next semester. So all homework up until now is due March 12th. I will grade it and try and get it to the PD department by the end of March, I'm hoping. So remember, everything is manually graded. So yes, everything's going to say it's in progress until either Gail or I go in there and grade everything and mark it as complete. So if you see that you uploaded one picture per week, or however many weeks that you actually took the classes, then that's all you need to do. Assume that that's correct, and I will let you know otherwise. Next week, we are going to learn more about Discovery Education and all the hidden gems. So there are books in there, there are videos in there, there are pictures in there, there are all sorts of things in there that are so very helpful to you in your classroom. So be mindful of that. They are coming soon to your classroom, hopefully. So hopefully you'll join us next week and we'll teach you all about those really cool features. Also, Gail's typing in the chat window, please complete the EdTech feedback form. So on that form, it says yes or no, I need additional assistance. If you choose yes, that means you want Gail or I to directly reach out to you, whether it be screen sharing or visiting you at your school or what have you, and teaching you whatever skill you're looking for help on. If you choose no, that means that you just want more webinars and you're excited to learn more and you're good for right now. So just so you know, that's the clarification there. What else? Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
If you have any questions, please go ahead and chat them in the chat window, or feel free to email either Gail or I. Melanie just wrote, so we are officially done with this semester class of ELN.
Yay!
We are, yay! Yes, so January 1 through today is the last class that will be uploaded in this semester's class at ELN. And you'll see it says January through March. So the next class, I think it says March through May. So, yeah. So it's just about done. And then we'll have a few more in March through May. We are going to skip a couple weeks because we have spring break and then we have our big tech talk and things like that. But then we'll get started again shortly after that. So we have one more and then 2 weeks off and then we'll start again.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay, guys, have a wonderful Tuesday.
Bye.
We'll
Thanks
see you
for joining us.